I've seen pain,
I started crying.
but the mind is what will slow down.
I was never able to run as a kid. And the first challenge we set together was a half marathon.
Just gives me so much happiness. How much of an impact just telling someone well done can actually do for the world.
Hello and welcome to Unformed. Today I have a very special guest with me in the studio. It's Reece Baker. He is a personal trainer and an online coach, and he is my personal trainer as well. Welcome, Reece. I'm very happy to have you in the studio here with me.
Thank you for inviting me. This is awesome. It's a big thing.
How are you feeling today?
I'm very, very blessed.
Are
Very
you ready
chilled.
for the conversations that we're about to have?
Very, very ready. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Nice.
So as a start, I would like to know a little bit more about Reece, because I know Reece as a personal trainer. Who were you before, and how did you make this shift to become who you are at the moment?
Yeah, sure. I think maybe start from the beginning. Like sport was a big part of my life when I was younger. I studied sports science in particular. The idea was to probably go into sports and become like a PE teacher. But eventually I moved to London, and like the work life is kind of what took me. And I ended up going down like a big like F&B sort of career, working in restaurants, working in nightlife. But you know, the sport of bodybuilding was always a big part of my life, and that very much came from my parents. They both loved bodybuilding before I was born. My dad's always trained, my mum's always trained. And a part of me always trained throughout my career in food and beverage, but eventually I realized that fitness is always what I've loved, and eventually I had to make that change and go into fitness. And it's been a couple of years. It's been a great journey. I've met individuals like yourself. I personal train you, and I've seen you grow into the person who you are. You know, you're doing your own podcast now. We're talking about fitness, and this for me is what fitness is all about. You know, like you get to really help individuals evolve, and you know, you're not the reason why someone changes, but you're just a pillar, a part of their foundation.
Sure.
So before we go into detail, I'm very proud of you for what we're doing right now. This is awesome.
Thank you so much. You moved from two different extremes, from F&B to fitness. At what point you entered the gym, let's say, and you felt that this is the place I want to work in, or this is what I really want to do?
Yeah, so I work at a gym called WellFit, and it's in JVC in Dubai. And I was a member there initially before I joined. And when I was a member, that's when I used to work in food and beverage. And I was working at a brand called Pickle, like shout out Pickle, will always be a brand ambassador. And I achieved quite a lot, and I really enjoyed what I was doing. But at the same time, I realized it wasn't necessarily my true passion. And when I was at WellFit, I'd always be there, and I went for a transformation myself. I went from 103 kg down to like 79 kg, like full photo shoot transformation. That was done with my old coach called River. Shout out to River as well, awesome guy. And all this was done at WellFit. And I remember like when I was there, I loved the community, and it made me realize that this is what I really wanted to do. You know, I left my old career. I took a sabbatical to figure out really what I wanted to do, and that's when I did my own personal transformation. And then I eventually joined WellFit as a personal trainer. And there's something about the atmosphere of a huge gym like one we have in JVC, or the WellFit branch.
You're mentioning your personal transformation, which I know quite well, that it was a big change at some point before you joined WellFit. Can you take me through that? Because we have this always this idea that the transformations are very clean, they happen like this. But you are very well known as well to have a very strong mindset. So can you take me through this journey that you went through?
Yeah, of course. I think the most important part was like the starting point was 103 kg, and I had kind of went on what we call a dirty bulk, and that's where you still train a lot, but you don't really care about what you're eating. You kind of like just consume quite a lot. And because of my previous career, when you work in food and beverage, you get lost sometimes in what you're eating, and you know how much you're drinking if you are going out socializing. And that helped in a way to sort of like add on extra, you know, weight so I could lift more weights. But you know, the thing with a dirty bulk is that it doesn't help everyone. Like it can actually sort of slow down your overall progress because you have to lose all the weight again. So it's a tough way of doing it. So that's kind of what I got to, and I kind of realized I probably took it a bit too far. And that's when I realized, hey, I need to now really make a change. Like, I love the gym, but I'm really out of shape. And basically the journey was about 6 months, about 25 kg. And this was hard work. This was like training 5 to 6 times a week, doing strength training, gradually increasing the time on the Stairmaster from like 20 minutes all the way up until the last few weeks.
I know that you love the Stairmaster.
I do love the Stairmaster. Shout out Stairmaster as well. I remember like the last few weeks before we got ready for a photo shoot, I was doing 70 minutes, 70, an hour and 10 minutes every single day on the Stairmaster, whilst on really low calories. So it was really tough, you know, and this is what I try to explain to whoever I work with, that you're not going to lose like 20 kg in like a month, like, or 2 months. Like it takes a lot of time, you know, it takes a lot of effort and consistency. But a lot of that was done, you know, through just a lot of hard work. And like, I'm really proud of doing that. And I always have explained to people that for me, you can get education by, let's say, reading and you know, like listen to audiobooks and whatnot. But sometimes you can learn through an experience. So me losing 25 kg was like experience education, which I've been able to help my clients with as well. Because I think a lot of the time, some personal trainers, they've been fit their whole entire life. Some PTs have had a six-pack their whole life. So they don't really know what it's like to be overweight and then to get into that sort of PT sort of shape. So that experience definitely helped a lot with people I work with.
I'd like to tap onto the mental strength that you need to go through something like this, because you're very well known for very crazy challenges. You just did the 1,000 wall balls that everyone was talking about at some point. And at some point, I feel that it's no longer the physical. It's you reach to a point where you stop negotiating with your mind and you just get it done. To reach to that level of having first 70 minutes on a Stairmaster, which is super tough, or 1,000 wall balls, or even those very crazy challenges that you set yourself. How did Reece become a person who doesn't negotiate anymore with himself? He sets something and you just go through it.
Yeah, great question. Like, because it used to always be about like the body, you know, and I think a lot of people get very caught up in what fitness in the gym is all about, and they think it's just pure aesthetics. But eventually, like, you start to realize there's actually more for the mind more than anything. You know, like, it's great looking good in a mirror, it's great looking good in clothing. I think everyone should feel that way. But like, when you can build this level of consistency and dedication and like discipline in the mind through training, like that will then help you outside of the gym as well. My dad said this to me all the time when I was younger. He was like, it's all about, you know, your mind. Like, you're going to grow your mind in the gym. You know, if you got, let's say, a set of 10 reps and you get to the 9th rep and it's hard, and that last rep you have to try and get through, most won't want to get that last rep. But if you can become that person who gets that last rep, you then become that person at work who will spend the extra couple hours finishing that presentation. You know, you spend the extra few hours like preparing for a meeting. Like, I'm a big believer in everything you do in the gym will help you outside. And for me personally, like, I've evolved from just being like a typical gym bro who used to love posing in the mirror all the time to now someone who likes to like do a lot of like really intense challenges. One, because it builds this like really intense like new level of like discipline in my mind, and it also challenges myself as well. And it makes me realize that you can always do more. And like even today, like I just ran like 6K outside and it's 40 degrees today. It's hot. And I set out, went for a run, and there's no shades, but doing that, you know, has allowed me, honestly, for this moment right now, like this, some people might find, let's say, a podcast quite intimidating, and it is, of course it is. But when you can do something like run outside in 40-degree heat for like 30 minutes, that allows you to like relax your anxiety. So I believe in do crazy intense things because it's going to help reduce certain negative mental parts to a minimum, so you can more enjoy the positive parts of the mind.
And Andrew Huberman once, he also mentions in his podcast that if you find there's something that is really hard that you're trying to procrastinate, his solution is always to try to do something that is harder for you to go back to do that thing properly. And when you are doing something that is very hard, you reach to a threshold of pain where you're really in pain. And I think everyone experiences this in the gym as well. What happens in your mind at that threshold? When you hit that threshold, what, how do you talk to yourself?
I do a lot of self-talk in these moments. You know, like there's a few things I've done in the last couple of years where I've gone through like really intense levels of pain. You know, like last year I just set out casually just to run a marathon on a palm, all alone. There was no one with me, just set it out. I think the first I'd ran was a half marathon, and I was like, I'm just going to do this. And, you know, the second half of that run was just pure pain. So I'm in pain for like 2 hours. And what to get through that is purely just in the mind. You start talking to yourself, not in a crazy way, but you start having to like really like give yourself some like really positive self-talk, saying that, look, you're going to get through this. Like if you can achieve the next 2 hours and get through this pain, you're going to get through, you know, the next like, you know, 2 weeks, you know, or next like, you know, 2 months, 2 years. You know, like sometimes it's about a very small amount of time, deal with that pain, allows you to enjoy a large amount of time of pleasure. And I think pain always does become pleasure. And that's why, you know, the phrase like no pain, no gain is really true in the gym. You know, if you don't hit pain in the muscle, you don't feel it the next day, you've probably not really worked the muscle hard enough. At the same time, if you're not really feeling, you know, pain during that sort of intense workout, like running a marathon in the heat, like you're probably not like actually testing your body or your mind enough. And that's really when you start growing more.
When you hit those very hard challenges, how do these challenges change you as a person? Do you look at yourself different in the mirror? Does it change the way you see yourself?
It changes the way I feel, not the way I see myself. Like when I look in the mirror, I do respect who I see because of what things I do, but it's more about the feeling. It's more about like when you finish 1,000 wall balls, it's like in your mind, you're like, cool, I just did a certain movement for an hour and 20 minutes and my body just hurts. But you get this like new sort of self-respect, you know, and this is why I like to set these challenges for anyone who I work with, because anyone can just go and do, let's say, a typical bodybuilding split. But, you know, like yourself, like, you know, like this year you ran a half marathon and you did a HYROX, you know, like compared to where we first started, that may have never been kind of like on the cards for maybe what we initially thought. But being able to get you to this point where you've done these sort of things, you know, that sort of shows that it builds this new level of intensity.
Yeah, honestly, this is a very important point that I wanted to mention as well, that given the fact that I went through an open heart surgery when I was young, running was never part of what I do. And for me to come and have a conversation with you about a half marathon was something that I never thought was possible. And the funny part is that most of the people that are around me, they never believed that I was able to do something like this. And they were preparing me more for failure, that it's okay if you don't get through this. It's the first time and you will get it done the next time. And you were the only person telling me, I'm sure you can get it done. Like, I believe 100% that you can get it done. And it's just that you need to keep moving and you need to keep on digging deeper when you're there. And when clients come to you, or when individuals come to you and they are seeking personal training sessions, or they're seeking coaching, how much do you feel that those individuals, they're coming more for also a mental space to feel that someone believes in them more than what they're believing in themselves? Because when someone comes to you, they're seeking help, physical help. But do you think that it has a lot of mental help or emotional help that is still required? Because it will drive us to the conversation of mental first or physical first.
Yeah, I'd definitely say, I think like, kind of like sort of circling back initially just to what you did with a half marathon, like, and then kind of circling back again to what you asked me about why I do these sort of like really intense challenges. Like, I will do these really hard things because now I then realize that me as a human can do this sort of thing. So now I believe I can expect the same thing from someone who I work with. Like, you know, you've got a body that works perfectly fine. So the body will do the half marathon, but the mind is what will slow down and potentially say, no, maybe I can't do this. Like, the body's just an engine. It will just keep moving. Like, the mind is what tells it to keep moving through pain. So then, like, let's say with you, like, I think a lot of it wasn't necessarily training the body. Like, we'd already trained the body. Like, you know, you'd done loads of stuff already. It was about really getting your mind ready. And it was more like, I believe training the mind's a real thing. Like, you have to evolve a mind. Like, the mind's not you can't see the mind. You can
And
see.
you train the mind only through pain?
I think you train the mind through many things. I think it definitely grows through pain. And that can be both pain, like in the gym and also outside the gym. You know, sometimes you can go through something that's probably like very intense, like, you know, like say a heartbreak, let's say something happens, maybe like, I don't know, with family or whatnot. And, you know, it's really intense in that moment, and you will feel, let's say, a certain, you know, sadness or some other sort of feeling, let's say anxiety or whatnot, but you will always get through it. And once you got through it, you've now kind of like trained the mind to sort of deal with that intensity or to deal with that sort of like emotion. And I think kind of again, like with you, with a half marathon and also with HYROX, there were moments where you taught me saying, maybe I can't do this. And that's just the mind kind of like hitting that point where it needs the extra few reps. You know, if you're doing like bicycle, I can see when your muscles saying, I got nothing left, but I can help you. I can get you through, like, you know, for like two or three. I can do that, you know, then and there, I can see it. But you can't see the mind, but you can see the mind through expressions. You know, I can see when you're feeling a certain way. You know, like in a workout, when you're like going full sends, I can see when your eyes are looking a little bit like tired and you're like, oh, there's nothing left. But when you got someone to be with you, to push you a little bit more with some words of encouragement and, you know, to say how much of a savage you are, like that kind of like then pushes the mind. And then you leave that workout thinking, cool, like I couldn't do that, but I did do it. And now I've like built that new level. So the mind is a true thing.
So you're saying mind first?
Mind over everything. Like mental health and mental well-being is key. You know, like again, the body you have will help your mind. You know, like you train hard and you look better in the gym and you feel good and you love what you wear, and you know you can run a 10K, you can do your push-ups and all that stuff. Like that's great, but that's your body saying thank you to the mind, because the mind is what makes you do this. So I'd say, yeah, mental for sure.
And the individuals who are coming to you, how do you support them mentally first? Because they say that a lot of the times when someone is coming to the gym, they're running away from something, or they're in a situation they want to get better because of something. And we see a lot of even guys and men specifically, they're lifting for someone. It could be for their moms, their parents, their dad, a loved one. But there's always something that is an emotional drive to it. How do you help individuals like this? And does this apply to you as well?
It really depends on the person. Like I've learned that a lot in the last couple of years being a PT. Like everyone's very different. Like some need a different way of communication. Some need a different push. Like some you can give a small push and you'll get loads from it, because too heavy of a push, it actually can put them off a little bit. Like they just don't want that. You know, like you have to evolve a little bit. But I think like I want to just kind of refer to us just because like we work together. Like, you know, like, I'm your PT, you're my athlete. You know, I think like with you, like what's worked well with you to help you grow in the mind and your body when it comes to fitness, you've needed a bit more of an intense approach. You know, there's sessions where I can see you're looking at me saying there's nothing left, like but I have to really get it out of you. And I think like that's honestly, that's really fun, honestly, when you're a personal trainer, to have like someone like yourself.
I know you're vibing and I'm just dying.
I'm dancing away. It's a good time. And you're there just like pushing like, 175 kg on the sled, and you feel like there's nothing left, but I'm saying there's more, and you keep going. So I think it really depends on the person. You have to adapt. I think, if you try and be the exact same person for like 100 people, you might only get great results out of like, 20 or 30. Because if you have a 70, you might just need a little bit less intensity. If you have some of them might need more intensity. So like there might be people who I train other than you who might need like 2 times the amount of intensity. And they might just be different sort of individuals. Yeah. But I think it really depends on the individual, how to get the best out of them. You have to evolve for the athlete.
Yeah. Who is Reece inspired from?
Look, I'm very inspired both by my parents, like my father, because like I have a tattoo on my arm that says never say can't, always say can. And like he always said that to me when I was a kid, like all the time, to a point where it used to annoy me, because I was like, yeah, well, what happens if you do this? And he'd always find a solution to whatever I could like throw at him. But then as I kind of grew up and I became 15, 16, and I kind of understood more about what it means to be a young man, like that saying really stuck with me. And he wrote on like a birthday card when I was 18. I was like, cool, that has to be like my first tattoo. So the never say can't, always say can approach has helped, I think, a lot. So like he's a big inspiration. Like my mom's a huge inspiration because, you know, she's had to go through a lot. Like she's always like pushed hard. She's gymmed a huge amount. You know, she does have she suffers from something called endometritis, and you know, I've seen my mom like in pain, but will still crack on and still do what she's got to do. And I have so much respect for her as a woman, and she taught me an incredible amount when it comes to just carrying on, getting through it, like making it work, but also at the same time having like this great amount of like positivity, even through a little bit of pain. I think again that kind of goes back to what I said. Like I've seen pain, and I've seen you can still be positive through it, and you can still get through it and still come out of it stronger. So I think my parents are definitely inspiration. There's many other inspirations, but definitely them two helped me become who I am.
Yeah, they definitely helped you to be the person that you are at the gym today, no?
For sure. Like I think because of their love for bodybuilding when I was younger, that's the reason why I'm into fitness. Like definitely.
Yeah. When we work together normally, or when we work out together, and I noticed one thing that you always do. You always call out PRs and achievements in the gym to everyone that is around you. And you just love doing that. So you go around the gym shouting at people, calling them beasts, calling them, I don't know, just giving them motivational speeches. And normally when everyone is working out separately and you call them out on that, they somehow, I feel that they light up, they flourish, and especially men that normally they like to stay in a corner alone, and you have this tendency to wanting to lift up everyone that is around you through that. What is the importance of that? And specifically, what is the importance of being, I wouldn't say motivated, but seen at some point when you're really trying to work hard on yourself?
Again, great question. I'd say literally 100% of the people I've approached to say, well done, or amazing lift, or you're really strong, like everyone's welcomed it. Like no one's ever said, like, don't talk to me. Like people love to be told they're doing well, especially in the gym, because like it's hard work. It's hard to get that PR. It's hard to be pushing. It's hard to be sweating, you know, on like 7 a.m. in the morning. Like it's so easy just to be like, you're a unit. Just like spread a bit of positivity, you know, like give someone a little bit of energy, because I've always believed that if you can speak to one person and give them a little bit of energy, a little bit of positive energy, and then that person then uplifts a little bit, and then they're going to pass it on as well. Like it's crazy. How do I word this? Like it's impossible to know how much of an impact just telling someone well done can actually do for the world. You don't know, but I've seen it myself when I've seen someone like going through it and they're struggling. I can see they're in their zone, but we do a big heavy lift, and I go, hey, well done, mate, that's a big lift, and I see them like bright up. Yeah. And then like 2 minutes later, I'll see them like now chatting with like someone. Then that person it becomes a chain reaction of positivity. So I think it's really important that if we all can do it once a day, just say hello, say well done to someone, say, hey, you look good today, mate. You know, like there's no harm in spreading positivity. I think if you do that, like it can really change a lot of things.
Yeah, true that. If you were to define how transformation looks like, at some point you feel that you hit a wall and then you try again, and then you hit a wall and then you try again.
I always say just be better than your previous self. Like for me, that's like the epitome of a transformation. Now, a transformation can be like a long-term one. It can be, let's say you've worked on something for, let's say, a year. So you worked on someone for a year, and they've lost 10 kg, they've done this, they've done that, like it's amazing. But, you know, like when it comes to just transforming, like if you're just better than your previous self, like let's say you take, you know, some data as an example on, you do bench press and we do like 40 kg for 8 reps. Cool, amazing, we've done a good lift. Next week, maybe we try 45 or 6 reps. Now that we've actually beaten our previous self, like we're better than our previous self. I think if everyone takes that mentality and really drives it into themselves more and more, like people will see a lot more success. You know, like taking 6 months to transform, it's a long time, and it requires a lot of consistency.
Was it always highs, or at some point you feel that you dip and then you go back up?
Yeah, there's lows as well. Like there's highs and lows in a transforming either yourself or like a client, you know, and that's normal. Like people go through stuff. Like people, you know, like let's say like women as an example, like once a month, like you have your periods, and that these few days, like we're probably not gonna maybe see the same level of power and intensity. Okay, fine. You know, like in them days, we have to maybe take it a little bit calmer. Some can still push, some maybe not so much. So that might, if you look on some data, you might sort of see maybe a little bit of drop on the intensity on the weights. So there are moments where things will dip a little bit, but it's all about coming back up. And if you see over time that, you know, point A to let's say point B, you know, it's relatively a straight line from a long distance. Cool. But if you go really close to it, you'll see a little roller coaster. But the main thing is that we don't want to be seeing like A to B, like a straight line with ups and downs. Cool. Yeah. Let's get A to B here. But if you zoom really closely, there's very small up and downs moments, but we still achieve what we were looking for. Either a drop on the scales, you know, lifting heavy weights, better time. But like there's gonna be moments, there might even be a week where things aren't perfect in your training. And that's okay. You know, we have to get through it.
When someone trains with you and for a while, and then let's say they go on with their lives and you go on with yours, what is one thing that you really want to achieve that when they look back, they say that this is what Reece did, or this is what he achieved, or his impact in my life was?
I think probably just a new mindset more than anything. Like, you know, if we can build a new mindset and we build that consistency, you know, dedication, discipline, I say them words quite a lot, but they're the ones I tend to go with mostly. If we can build that to a point where it's like, you know, it becomes like a regiment in a routine, that for me just gives me so much happiness, where I get to see someone really get at it when it comes to their work. I see them grow in their career, like yourself, like you're doing a podcast, like this is mad, you know, like, you know, the work we've done, you know, of course has helped you get to this point, but this is still what you think. This isn't necessarily me coaching you, but there's been a lot of input maybe that's led to this. But I think the main thing, all I care about is that when someone finishes either you know, a course with me or a training session with me, that we've built the mindset to be a little bit stronger, or over time a lot stronger. But it's just mindset. I just want people just to get stronger in the mind, because the mind is what will slow people down, but it's also what will make people go really quick as well.
Okay, so you believe that you can train your mind at the gym before the body?
Yeah, 100%. Like after 1 week of training, you're probably not going to see too much. But after 1 week of training and you've done 4 or 5 sessions compared to doing nothing the week before, at the end of the week you're like, raw, I did like 4 or 5 training sessions. This is amazing. Like your mind's like filled with dopamine. Like, yeah, I did this. Like,
yeah. And honestly, from a personal experience, I want to mention one thing as well that was really impactful for me, and it enhanced my experience in the gym and my journey of fitness specifically, is that when I came first to you to discuss my goals, I was in a really low moment of my life, and then I was discussing weight loss, and I remember that I couldn't stick to anything, and at some point I told you, you know what, I don't want to weigh myself anymore. I just want to go ahead with me trying to stick to a certain consistency that I show up at the gym. And I remember very well from that moment onwards, we stayed for months. You never asked me once what was my weight. And I was waiting always for you to ask. Like I was looking that, okay, maybe Reece is going to come and ask me about my weight. And then eventually you made me like the place I work out in. You made me like my program. You made me feel that, okay, this is my space to be there and to enjoy my time. And then we started discussing, okay, so let's set new goals and let's have 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to start the weekly check-ins that we do until now.
I think the gym used to be very just all about aesthetics. And of course, people, you know, you still care about your mind. People still train, but you know, fitness has become like, I think fitness is the biggest thing right now in the world. It's like everyone's doing it. Like everyone loves fitness. Like, and something's changed. But I think going back to you, you know, like again, I said this before, you have to adapt to your clients. And obviously, look, weight loss is something that we want to work on, because if you are, you know, lighter Of course, you're going to see, let's say, a better shape. You're going to feel lighter throughout the day. It's going to be easier to move around, all that sort of stuff. So that's obviously something we always want to work towards. But if it becomes obsessive to a point where, you know, we're talking about weight all the time, and then that starts to, let's say, throw you off a little bit when it comes to your consistency in the gym, because, you know, all of a sudden, you know, you're feeling a certain way and you'd rather just stay at work all day and you can't make it because, you know, whatever. Like, I mean, it's more about the sense of you have to adapt and not, let's say, focus only on the scale weight, but focus on building your engine, building your muscle mass, you know, like doing more of like a composition change on your body, and then looking on the scales here and there, because eventually it will change, you know. And also at the same time, I would rather train you 3-4 times a week and you be happy and send it and like get at it all the time, and let's talk about how great you're feeling, you know, how great you're feeling week on week.
I think this is what happened, because at some point it was me looking in the mirror, not really liking who I was, and it reflected on my identity as well. And how you treated this, let's say, the situation and the program that we went on was something that really helped me mentally, and it drove me to go through the fitness challenge or the fitness journey, let's say, that we are on at the moment. Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for taking me through that fitness journey. It's something that is emotional to me and something that is very special. That's why I'm very happy to have you as my first guest here. Thank you so much for your time, Reece. It was a really, really good conversation. It was very inspiring, and it was very impactful for me as well to have someone who did this change in my life, as someone who's also having, who's as also being my first guest in my first podcast. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you as well. Before we end, I just want to ask maybe 1 or 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
Look, like
you're welcome to ask.
Yeah, I want
to interview me.
Yeah, I want to ask just a couple. I hope we have a bit of time.
Yeah.
But like, I want to know, like, why are you doing this? Like why have you built this beautiful brand of Unformed? Like, I love it. I think it's great. I think you've given a platform about fitness. I think it's awesome. But I want to know, like, why are you doing this? Like actually, what are you getting from it?
It all started from our fitness journey together. When I remember you were telling me a lot to post on social media, because you told me that it's a conversation between you and yourself, to hold yourself accountable of things. And I started posting it, although at some point I didn't feel that I was comfortable in my own body, but I posted them anyway. And I said, you know what, a lot of people might be going through this, and I want to just post and see the transformation that happens. And at some point, I wasn't posting it to be inspirational, but a lot of people started talking to me, and they were telling me that I started something because I saw you and Reece working on this specific workout or trying this out. And it hit me that people don't really get inspired by perfect. They get inspired by someone who's been through a lot. They have their ups and downs, and they fail. They go back up again, and they try again. They try harder. And it hit me that we are always told those very curated, successful stories of humans that they're a little bit hard to reach, let's say, or they're a little bit far. We don't know a lot of details about them. And we undermine the impact of us showing up every single day, trying to do something. And this is why I wanted to have you as well as my first guest in this podcast, because in a lot of times you were impacting others by just being there, by just being the guy that says, I'll do 1,000 wall balls, and he gets them done anyway. There are people that walk into a room telling you how strong they are, and there are other individuals who are like yourself. You would just walk in and it would just show. You would show how strong you are, or how committed, or your mental strength through doing the actual work. And I thought maybe people need to know more stories like that, because that's what I think matters. They need to hear human stories, and that's what we're here to offer.
I love that. My last question is, what have you gained from the last like 2 years since we've been working together? Like how do you feel compared to what
Well,
you were to what you are now?
I'm a totally different person, mentally specifically. Um, the journey that we went through was not physical for me. It was not fitness journey. It was more mental that eventually led to physical. Um, I had an open heart surgery. I came to you. I was depressed. I was at a really low stage of my life. And the way we worked together to move from that person who I cannot do it to the person that, okay, maybe I can just register to a half marathon and then a HYROX and then another half marathon and then a lot of different plans that are coming up. It's a totally different shift in my life. Especially as well, it started with running because I was never able to run as a kid because I always had to protect my heart. So I couldn't even physically run. And the first challenge we set together was a half marathon. And the change with the journey together, as you being my personal trainer, was physical, that I see PRs, I see strength. I'm becoming so much stronger. I lost a lot of body fat as well. I feel better in my body. And it's mental and emotional in a sense that now I look in the mirror, I really like who I see. I know that I have a lot of things to work on. I know that I'm not there yet. I know that there's a long way to go, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the journey that I'm in. And I feel this is what's really important. And it started reflecting on my conversations with people as well, that I'm not there telling them how my lifts were amazing. I'm there to tell them that it's fine. You can start from something small. And you being my personal trainer was super essential for this journey, because I wouldn't have been who I am today without you in the last 2 years, honestly. And I somehow owe it all to the work that you did, mentally and emotionally as well. At some point in some of the trainings as well, if you remember, I started crying. I was really in tears. And then you looked at me and you're like, you said you're going to get it done, so get it done. And it helped me as well in other aspects of my life, where now even at work, if I put a plan, I'll get it done. I don't know how, I don't know when and with what resources, but if I put my mind into something that I'm going to get it done, I will definitely get it done. And yeah, I have to thank you for that, honestly.
No, you're welcome. But like seeing your progression over the last like 2 years, like into who you've become, and to have this much confidence to build your own brand and to, you know, launch a podcast, and you know, it's beautiful to see. And this is why coaching is, for me, one of the best jobs in the world, because you just get to help an individual evolve into who they become, you know. And again, like, I will take small credit because this is all down to you. Like, this is all your work. You know, I've just helped a little bit along the way, and I'm just mad proud of you. You know, you've made it work.
Thank you.
Trust me, you're very inspiring. There's a lot of people in the gym who talk about you as well. I'm very excited to see like what you're going to do in the future with this. You know, just with your overall career, with your fitness. Just keep being a unit. Like you're that one who goes above and beyond all the time.
Yeah.
And I respect
actually,
you for it.
thank you so much. Just before we end this, find new limits. It's something that you always say.
Yeah.
And you're wearing it.
Yeah.
And I see you working out a lot in that t-shirt, and even you have a tank top for that. Why did you choose to always be the guy that says find new limits constantly in the gym? And what does it mean to you? Because now it's Reece, find new limits. Yeah,
it's just it's a mindset. It's like everyone's got limitations, and it's about breaking in limitations and finding a new limit. And that can be a new limit of intensity, new limit of like discipline. And that's why everything we do, let's say when we work together, or I work with anyone else, or even when you're doing your stuff with this, like you found a new limit. Like this is like a new limit for you. Like you've now found this new limit of being able to create a brand, do a podcast, interview someone, right? That's mad, and that's awesome. And like I have so much respect for it. but you're going to take this further. You know, you're going to keep finding these new limits of interviewing and keep breaking them more and more.
What are the limits that you are trying to break at the moment?
My personal limits, I just want to just become a better all-round man. You know, I want to be a better athlete. I want to be a better partner. I want to be a better just individual, a better coach. And I think that all comes through just a lot of like self-realization, a lot of self-reflection, understanding what you're doing. But a big part of this is doing these crazy challenges, because when you're running outside in that heat for 30 minutes, it's just you and your thoughts. And when you have that moment where you're having really intense meditation, where you're communicating with yourself in a painful environment, you learn so much about yourself. And that's why when I do these sort of things, and I say be a unit, be a savage, like find new limits, that allows me to, in my mind, feel like I've reached that new level of intensity. And I want everyone to enjoy that. I want everyone who I work with like to enjoy that leveling up. Like, look, this is mad what we're doing. Like, you've leveled up. Like, this is awesome to see. And when I get to see someone like you like level up in your personal life by doing this, like, there's generally nothing better. Like, end of the day, everything you see, it's like a show. And like, I'm seeing the HYROX show right now, and like, it's great to see like a POV HYROX show, like theater, you doing this, like, it's awesome.
And you've been through the whole process of me being...
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, you know, and I hope that everyone can do this in their own way. You don't just have to be a coach to help someone grow. You can do it at work. So just my last thing I'll probably say is just help others grow. Just be there for them and push them, feed them with positivity, but also take them through pain sometimes. You know, take your team for a run at nighttime for a 5K. They might not want to do it, but when you do it together as a team...
That's a really good idea. I think I should write this down.
Do it. Do that, for sure. Yeah. But I'm really proud of you. Like, I'm very, very proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Reece. And I'm super happy that you're my first guest. And
I'm honoured. I'm very honoured to be your first guest. But it's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks.